All right, we're at the start here, Springer Mountain, February 23rd, AT through hike. We are getting ready to start here. Got a few fellas here with us where we're starting. I think all of us are crazy because it's a whopping 19 degrees out with wind gusts above 20. Supposed to do nothing but get just a tiny bit warmer during the day. Wind died down a little bit. Gonna be a rough night, but we'll keep rolling and keep moving forward. And Trey's here, and as luck would have it, I already busted the top to my water bottle, so thank goodness I have two, and can't even get started without that. But boy, it is a pretty sight. Holy cow. Here's the first blaze, and we are ready to roll. All right, we are about 2.5 miles in, and it's one of those weird days. It's cold out. It's roughly, I don't know, 20, 21 degrees. The wind is really whipping, but when you get on the side of the mountain where the wind's not hitting, it's not bad, and I start sweating. And then you get in the wind and it starts getting cold and want to put back your hoods and everything on. So kind of got the happy medium right now. Trey and I are doing fine. Terrain so far has been pretty easy, and I want to thank my wife for dropping us off. I know it wasn't the most exciting for her to drive back down the Forest Service road at Springer. She was a little nervous about it, and boy, that wind was whipping on top of Springer, so we didn't stay and shoot very much because that was wide open, exposed. And today's been 20 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds during the day with gusts above that, but the wind's gonna keep dying down, and by this evening it's gonna be cold. Like overnight it's like 15, 16, I think, but the wind is only gonna be below 10 miles an hour, so that'll help. Our goal is to make it to Hawk Mountain Shelter, which is an 8.1 mile day plus the 1.1 miles we walked to Springer Mountain to start from the parking area. But 8.1 trail miles, and believe it or not, we had two guys from North Carolina starting that were up on Springer with us, two guys from New Hampshire, two young guys from New Hampshire. Don't think we'll see them again. They were doing a bunch of push-ups and flips on top of the flack there at the start in the first blaze. And then a guy from St. Louis who's been hiking kind of on and off with us so far today. So anyways, we are 2.5 miles in. Everything's going great. We're gonna stop for lunch here shortly, and we'll be back with some more. All right, couple little things I forgot to mention is I did the official, you can walk along and see the trail with me. Got some nice rhododendron who were covering the trail. Had a little flurries this morning, and still have a little bit on the ground here and there. Just depends on where you are. But additionally, wanted to let you know that did my official pack weight, and I am with 3 days of food at 23 and change, just barely over 23 pounds. And there's Trey up in front of us waiting for me, making sure I didn't fall apart here. But 23 pounds, like 23.3 or something like that, was the total. That's with 3 days food. I cut a couple of my stuff sacks, and that helped to get me down a little bit further, but I'm pretty happy with that. The backpack feels great so far. I feel great. We're on the side of the mountain with no wind, so it's nice and warm. Well, not really warm, but feels pretty much warmer. And Trey's already taken his puffy jacket off and is just in his sweatshirt and moving along. But we'll check in a little later. The goal is Hawk Mountain Shelter, so we'll let you know. We're about almost to the halfway point for the day, so we'll talk to you soon. All right, we are at Three Forks, and you see these in some other people's video, but man, this is pretty. This stream, we've reached a balmy 33 degrees, and when the wind's not blowing, it's actually pretty nice. Unfortunately, the wind is kind of hit and miss still, but it has improved. It is not near as windy as it was even when you hit the wind. But there's Trey coming along behind me as we move it along. So far, when we got to Springer, there were 2 young guys from New Hampshire, and one of them did a flip on the first blaze, and then they both jumped down and talked about working out. And they were young. They were either right out of high school or right out of college, and looked very fit. But they both started doing push-ups as fast as they could, and then took off. Don't think we're ever going to see them again. Feeling they're going to be way down the trail. They were talking much bigger miles than what we were. Then there was another couple guys who were about my age. One was, I think, 54, the other 55, from North Carolina. And then Braxton from St. Louis, and he is 45. And then we just met a couple at lunch. We stopped at Stover Creek Shelter. We met a couple there that are from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and don't remember their names. One's a therapist, the other works at a outdoor store, and they have been married 7 years, so I'm guessing they're in their early to mid 30s ish, maybe late 30s, I don't know. But anyways, that's who we've met so far. We have Long Creek Falls coming up in 1 mile, and it's pretty exciting. We'll take the side trail over that and take a look, and be back to you then. All right, we are 5.3 miles in roughly, and we are at Long Creek Falls. Actually, we've done 6.4 miles total, but 5.3 trail miles, I think, maybe 5.2, I don't know. But anyways, Long Creek Falls, it's a little side trail. It's like 0.1 off. Definitely worth it. There's a Fumo tray over there, and anyways, that's Long Creek Falls. It's actually really pretty, really pretty. And I've taken my jacket off because I started getting warm. Did our first big hill, and have been able to move past that. And I almost forgot one other person we've met so far. A young man named Tyler, who's 19. So he's a young fella. But anyways, that's it for now. All right, Hawk Mountain Shelter. We have made it, and right now it's windy. I thought I could hear some people earlier that were already here. I know there's a pretty good group behind us that are planning on stopping. But anyways, hopefully the shelter blocks the wind. The wind has picked up around here. It's not like crazy like it was earlier, but I'd say it's pretty consistent. 10 to 15 miles per hour. And last we checked, the temperature was actually gotten up to almost 40, which it wasn't supposed to do today. So that was good. And actually, Trey and I both have taken our puffies off, and we were starting both sweating. So that part's good. But I know if we stop moving, that we will get awful chilly really quickly if we are in the wind. If we're not in the wind, it's not bad. No, we'll get that way this evening, but we'll see. Like I said, we're coming up on the shelter, and I can already see some different colors that way. So hopefully there's still room in the shelter. I feel like we're ahead of a good number of the people, but we'll find out. I'll have more for you here coming up. Well, I'll take you up to where we can see it. I see somebody's got a tent there, another tent. Don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. We shall see. But there's a good group of people here already. Holy cow. That's at least 6 tents I see. So anyways, all right, we'll be back. All right, guys, the end of day 1. I'm up here in the loft with Trey and a couple other fellas, and it's still freaking cold out, but luckily this top loft is still holding strong, like 27 degrees. So see you tomorrow.